Hello, good morning. We are talking about personality disorders. And right about now, we dive first into our first question to our psychologists under the concept of personality. What is personality?
So the word itself, personality, comes from a Latin word, persona, which refers to a mask that was worn by the performers to hide their identities or to perform roles. So with that being said, the term personality refers to a pattern of thoughts, feelings and behaviors that distinguish one person from the other.
In addition, we would say personality is this enduring characteristic. I want to emphasize the word enduring in the sense that before the age of 18, you have what are called personality traits. Okay, you have some traits of personality. At 18, when you get to the age of 18, these characteristics become locked. So they are enduring, they are who you are going to be for the rest of your life. So these are, as my colleague indicated, they are characteristics that differentiate one human being from another. So they encompass our interests, our drives, our emotional expression, to an extent that as we sit in the studio with counsel and everyone and the presenter, and we can see that we are different in all ways. That is personality, okay? And in addition, we can also maybe say personality can also be viewed in terms of temperaments, in the sense that in terms of temperament, when we speak of personality, there are people who are introverted, people who are, we can say they are on the quieter side, introverts. Then there are people we refer to as extroverts who are on the outgoing side. You know, given time, we can even say that there are actually types. When we talk of extroverts, there are people we call sanguines, cholerics, and the best example I usually use for Christians is in the Bible, the disciples of our Lord. You realize that Peter was outgoing. He would answer things before he understood them.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so he was extrovert and in fact a sanguine. A sanguine to mean from Latin blood, you know, is flowing. Then the mother of Jesus, she kept everything to her heart.
In her heart.
She was super introvert. People will refer to as melancholic. So all these terminologies we are trying to use, they describe personalities.
Okay.
A practical example that we can put when we say personality, this is just how we tend to describe other people. For example, if we say, remember in the definition I said this whole thing has to do with thoughts, with emotions and behavior. But then since behavior is the only thing that we tend to see, so in terms of describing other people, most times we say, for example, we say Counsel is generous, Counsel is is kind, or she is smart. So this is the behavior that people are able to see out there. So they are describing Counsel based on what they see. Okay? But then if we go backward, we tend to see that behind that behavior, their emotions, their feelings, that's what makes Counsel act the way she acts. Behind those emotions, those feelings, their thoughts.
We realize that not only humanity, but nature has flaws. Okay? In the book of Romans, if I'm not too mistaken, it should be chapter 8, Paul speaks to creation as awaiting redemption, okay, which means nature as a whole has defects, if I may use that way. So now, when you look at the human being, or when you look at nature itself, we have wildfires, we have tsunamis, we have volcanoes. These things we question, but if nature is perfect, why do we have this? Okay. So now, in the human person, we have different faculties. Our mind, body, we have emotions, we have spirituality, and we have personality as part of this, what defines a human being. So the same way we have disabilities in the physical, in the mind, personality can equally have flaws. So these flaws are what we are referring to as personality disorders. So these are misgivings, or they are traits in personality that actually disables one to adjust to life and experience life as it's supposed to be. Remember, we have personality so that we adjust to life, to changes of life. Because of my personality, when you smile, I will equally smile. Okay? Like the way you've done so actually. Now, if we smile and you get upset for nothing, then we know there's something wrong with your personality. And that is now what we are referring to as a disorder. Okay? So, as we sit here, I'm not threatening anyone that I'm going to kill them, isn't it?
Yeah.
But here we are, Victor begins to think that I want to harm him, even begins to shiver, a threat from unknown. Now, then you would know that there's something wrong with his personality. So, any flaws in the normal way of functioning in terms of personality would refer to them as personality disorders. The topic we are discussing today is a component of what we call psychopathology. It's among the disorders of mental health. The same way we have substance use disorders, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, spectrum, you name them. So personality disorders is one of the topics under psychopathology, which you find in psychiatry and psychology. So personality disorders, we understand them in clusters or in types. We categorize them in about 3 types. Okay? So how do we do this? We class A or type 1, we call them eccentric. These personality disorders that kind of are suspicious and the like. So under type 1, we can talk of 3. Because of time, we may not be going into so much of the details, but we have what we may call as paranoid personality disorder. That's just an example under type 1, those with eccentric behavior. So what is to be paranoid? Usually people joke that Americans are naturally paranoid. They are suspicious of everyone under the sun. This is a personality disorder, or a person who is ever suspicious of others. You know, even when they bypass a stranger, they would want to make something out of it. Or if it's at home, they can't even sleep well because they are so scared someone will harm them. You know, so those are some of the characteristics. They are so secretive. They can't share anything with you. Okay, if you have to really push hard, even as a parent or as a partner, to get anything out of what's going on in their life. So I don't know if I can jump into cluster B.
Right on it,
so,
please.
Remember cluster A, we said there are people with odd eccentric behaviors or traits. Type B are people with emotional dramatic behavior. Okay. So under this we have about 4 types, and I'll spend a little bit of time to discuss this because by prevalence, most people fall under, with disorders and personality, fall under the emotional and dramatic.
Okay, please do.
So here we have people we call histrionic, we have people we call narcissistic, we have people we call borderline disorders and antisocial disorders. So these are just clusters under B. So why are we saying they are emotional and dramatic? For instance, if someone has histrionic personality disorder, would find that they are usually attention seekers, and then they are provocative. They are shallow in terms of their thinking, very dramatic personalities. They are suggestive and demonstrative. These are not conditions that will say people will refer to Chinama. We live with them. Okay, we live with them. They become us before your age of 18. You may have these traits, but once it's 18, it becomes your fixed personality.
It solidifies.
So it's histrionic. Narcissism. These are people who are egocentric. People who love themselves more than anything. Yes, the Lord says love yourself before you love another. But these are people who love themselves beyond measure. They are self-admiring. They can spend time on the mirror admiring themselves. Okay? They lack remorse for others. They are arrogant. They lack empathy, exploitive, and envious. So these are the characteristics we want to look into someone who is narcissistic. I'm sure to my listeners we've heard of terminologies like this one is a sadist. This one is a masochist. They enjoy to inflict pain on others. They feel nice when they see you suffer. That is a trait of personality disorder under narcissism. Okay? So remember why we are discussing this is because a question will be posed, I'm sure, by Dios to say, how does this affect my relationship, my family? Because just imagine you are living under the same house with someone who is struggling with this, and they don't know that they have a personality disorder, and they are narcissistic. They would want not to leave any food for you, so that they see how you behave when there's no food. They would want to injure you. You will talk of sexuality. There are people who would want to cause pain to you sexually. They would do anything to want to cause pain, tie you to their bed, use objects, all those types of things that will cause pain to you. But for them, that will be part of the enjoyment. Yes. Okay. So that is a personality disorder. So look out for your partner if he's such. They need help. Borderline personality disorder, the most prevalent. A lot of people, there's almost 33 of all personality disorders, 33% are borderline disorders. These are impulsive, self-destructive people. Impulsive in the sense that they can just decide to go to Livingston from without. Okay? Yeah. They can decide just to quit. Just as we are on the Jude just says, I'm done, this is enough, off I go. They are self-destructive in the sense that they can get into traits of self-harm. They begin to mutilate, to cut themselves with a razor blade. We've dealt with quite a number of people with this kind of a disorder. They have a disturbed identity. By the time you're 18, you should know yourself. You should begin to know yourself. Okay? Yeah. So remember, we're just discussing cluster B, emotional and dramatic people. Lastly, it's the antisocial personality disorder. Okay? These are people who are deceitful. Antisocial personality disorder, they are deceitful, they are abusive, equally impulsive and aggressive, very reckless, irresponsible, and they enjoy breaking rules and laws. These are people you find an innocent kind of person is passing in the street, they stone you. They will break windows in classes. They would the street lights. They will just find joy in breaking those lights. So my counsel is here. These are your people you have to defend and manage.
Behavior,
yeah, deviant behavior. So it's part of a personality disorder. So sometimes in court is where you find that they would ask for a psychological evaluation. They want to understand, is this person struggling with a personality disorder, or it's just theft or criminality as usual. they steal for the sake of enjoying the stealing, not for the use of what they steal. So sometimes they may even steal their own clothes on the line.
Yeah.
Yes, for the act of just stealing.
So I feel like generally the social aspect of bringing out personality disorders, it helps us understand that there are certain things that are out that are not from the spiritual aspect. It's generally because maybe you were born with this, it's in your genes, or it developed from a certain aspect of your environment, like something triggered it and now you are feeding on it and it's growing, and you know what I mean? You get to experience it in our social lives. You start to understand why your friend, you are together, the next thing when the room is full, they just want to like close off, like they are done. They are, what do you call it? Social battery is out. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So you reach a point where you learn about these things and you're like, okay, now this makes sense. Like, okay, I understand you. I'm not going to criticize you, but like I understand you. If you want treatment for it, you can even offer, you know, like you give suggestions and whatnot. So it does have a negative aspect to our society, to our lives, to our family lives, and generally our individual selves. But then also it gives us an insight to understanding the person, maybe the group of people, and also it gives us a light to the younger generation. It gives us what do you call this, like a guideline to see, okay, if my child at 8 years old has started behaving in a certain way, you will go back to the drawing board. I'm like, oh, the older sister also started doing these things and this is how she ended up. So maybe if we can control it or like eliminate it or highlight on it, she'll become a certain person.